All right. So Kevin, you own Naan Ya Business.
Yes.
Food truck. How did you? Is this your first year?
This is actually our second season.
Second season. Okay.
Yep.
All right. With the same truck?
Yes.
Okay. So I just heard about you then this year. Mm-hmm. All right. So, well, tell us how you got started.
So Indian food. A lot of people ask me, why Indian food? It's simple. It's clean. It's healthy. The flavors are phenomenal. And they say, how did you get started with Indian food?
Yeah.
And it all goes back to when I was a chef at Syracuse University.
Okay.
There's a lot of international students working in the dining halls.
Yeah.
I befriended a lot of them, and they were homesick. They'd been there for years and working on their masters and their degrees. And I learned how to make their food. And looking back at it now, it was absolutely terrible. Just starting out. But they were really great. They encouraged me. They said it was, just like grandma's.
Yeah.
So I studied more, and then I started working as a chef at Cornell University.
Okay.
And we had Severe Saran come down and train us for months on his cuisine. Mm-hmm. And that's when it really started taking off, and I just fell in love with it. Huh. And a few years ago, my wife says, we should start a food truck. It'll be a lot of fun. And at the time, she had just started her hair salon. I was in between jobs, and I was like, you know what? Let's start a food truck. And I didn't want to do barbecue or pizza or tacos. I mean, there's a million of those around. I want something different. Right. So I just stayed with what I liked.
Yeah.
And I just came up with the concept, Naan Ya Business.
Wow. So, what originally got you into cooking? I mean, you were at SU and then Cornell.
Oh, I've been a lot of places. So It started off in the Air Force.
Okay.
Yep, right out of high school. I graduated CNS, went into the Air Force. I wanted to work in a medical lab, and they made me a cook.
Yeah.
I was really good at it, and I liked it. And so when I got out, I just stayed with it.
How long were you in?
About 4 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Where were you stationed at?
In England, mostly. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
What was that like?
Rainy.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, the weather recently. A lot of rain. But it was amazing. The countryside. Got to travel all throughout Europe.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So you're a chef in the Air Force. Wow.
Yep.
And so what year was that?
This was 94. I started. Yeah.
Yeah. So 94. So get out of the Air Force, and what happens then?
Where did I go?
Was it like straight into a restaurant or a kitchen from coming out of the Air Force?
Oh, dear. Yeah, I worked at a place called Millbrook Meadows down in Dutchess County. It was an upscale retirement community.
Okay.
And the chef there was from the CIA.
Nice.
So it was really nice fine dining.
Yeah.
I was there for a while, and then I came back up to Syracuse. Where did I work? The Phantom Club. Remember the Phantom Club?
No, I don't think I've ever heard of that. No.
And then it was Daisy Dukes.
Okay, yeah.
So it was there. Fresno's.
Yeah, Fresno's, man. Fresno's had great like chicken tenders.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Was that a chain?
It is.
It is, okay.
Or was.
It was, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But it wasn't part of the Tully's family, was it?
No.
No, okay. Because now I know like the one in Fairmount, I think it was something after Fresno's, but now it's Good Buddies, which is like one of the Tully's branded restaurants. So, yeah. All right, cool. So Tully's or Fresno's, and then...
Oh, dear. Dominic's.
Wow.
For a while.
So you've been to a few of the places.
The Sheridan.
Yeah.
The Sherwood Inn.
Nice. Were you at the Sherwood with Dan Hudson?
No, Stan Kalanko.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
He'll appreciate that. He's got a great ice business going on right now.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I never knew how much the Sherwood family, I don't know what their last name is, but I never knew how much that family owned in Skaneateles.
I have no idea.
They own pretty much everything. They own like half the real estate.
Smart.
They own the Sherwood. They own Blue Water Grill, Gilda's, and the Dinner Boat Cruise.
Okay.
And I think that's all the restaurants. I don't know if there's another one or not that they own, but yeah, they own quite a bit out there, which is wild. I never knew that. I thought they were all independent places, but yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I love the Sherwood, man. The Sherwood's one of my favorite restaurants.
It was a good experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's, I mean, I love Skaneateles in general. And we were just out there we went out there for the July 5th, we went out and just got lunch at Doug's. And yeah, man, it's a great spot. It's really comfortable and,
Beautiful lake.
yeah, it's gorgeous out there.
Yeah.
So you've been quite a few places and
Yes.
then landed at Syracuse for a little bit and then Cornell.
Yeah, I started at SU. I got tired of being a line cook. I wanted something different. My wife was we were expecting our first son.
Okay.
I'm like, this isn't going to work. So
Yeah.
I was getting ready. We were going out to a party, and I was getting ready, and I heard an ad on the radio for chefs and cooks at SU. I'm like, I need to apply.
That's cool.
So I was there for about 8 years, Cornell for about 8 years, and then I went to Binghamton University after that.
Okay.
But while I was at Cornell, I got my certified executive chef
Oh, nice.
and certified culinary administrator
Wow.
through the American Culinary Federation.
Those are tough.
Yes, it was.
Those are very tough.
Unfortunately, I didn't keep up with it, so
Okay.
I don't have those anymore. I
Okay.
let them expire. But it's definitely something that I would encourage any young chef to get into.
Yeah.
And try to mentor them through that.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause you have to keep up a certain level of like continuing credits and
Yep.
things like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Eamon Lee, who I work with at Gerhar's, is he's a certified executive chef. Yeah. Yeah. And he was telling me just a little bit of how challenging they are. Yeah.
There's only like 3,000 certified executive chefs in the country. So,
Really?
Yep, like 3,200, I believe, was the last number I saw.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got that, and that was when you were at Binghamton, and then from there you decided to.
From there, I went to UHS,
Okay.
the hospital right there at Wilson.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I was injured, and I was out of work for a while, and then,
Okay.
going through rehabilitation, and I was
Yeah.
like, I need to do something on my own. I'm
Yeah.
tired of working for other people, and it's just been full steam ahead,
Yeah.
a roller coaster ride, but it's been a great experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's it like? I mean, tell me, I'm fascinated by, I love hearing the stories of businesses getting started.
Okay.
Because I've got I have 100 ideas and I kind of like to think through if I had that business, like how would I get started? How would I find this stuff? Where would I get funding? All that. So, I mean, you have the idea for a food truck.
Yep.
Your wife kind of helps you, push you out the door a little bit.
Yep.
Which my wife is currently doing that with me and trying to decide if I'm going to go full time with this business or not. So that's good to hear that she was there to help you with that. So you guys have the idea, and what's the next step from there?
So, coming up with the theme of the truck first. So, we decided on Indian. Then I decided on the name. And we came up with a couple different ones. And everyone liked Naan Ya Business.
Yeah.
Were
you deciding between like Indian and a different concept? Or was it pretty much just like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that?
I didn't want it, like I said, I didn't want to do barbecue or pizzas. There's a million of those around. So I didn't want to try to compete with that.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to do Indian. Because when I was at Binghamton University, we hooked up with local restaurant Moguls on the Vestal Parkway, which is now under new ownership. But they partnered with Sodexo at Binghamton University, and they created the rice bowl concept.
Okay.
I took that and expanded on it for Naan Ya Business.
Okay, cool.
And made it more Americanized.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So that's where I got the idea of doing the rice bowls.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
it kind of grew from there with my menu.
Yeah. I wanted to try those when we were there. So there's a lot of things I wanted to try because, we had you for the first time at Willow Rock a couple weeks ago. And I realized that like the non-grilled cheese isn't like some, I told you, my wife's been looking at your menu and your Instagram. She really wants to try, and you'd think I would say like something like really uniquely Indian, but she really just wanted to try the grilled cheese. She loved it.
I get so many requests for that. And it's really funny because our first season, I didn't have that on the menu.
Okay.
And my customer base is so vast. It spans like every demographic you can think of. Everyone from 6 months old to 90 years old. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need more items on the menu for children.
Yeah.
So I added the grilled cheese and pizzas, and now I go out to like Willow Rock or Onco.
Yeah.
I sell a ton of grilled cheese.
Yeah, I bet.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. Everybody loves it.
Yeah, it's a great picture that you have on your social for it too. That helps sell it.
Yeah.
You know, people see that photo, and you know that's what they want. So yeah. All right, so you've got the concept for Indian food. You've expanded on the rice bowls. You come up with a name.
Yep.
Where do you find the truck at?
So I originally went online. I'm like, all right, let's see if I can find one. So I looked at some used ones through a broker site.
Okay.
Found one that I liked, and we're driving through Pennsylvania, and I get a call from the guy who has the truck that we're going to look at. It's like, I can't get it started. I'm like, oh, I don't want to have these issues. So we pulled off to a rest stop. I told the broker, I said, we don't want it.
Yeah.
I immediately went on and found a website, food trucks. I ended up going through United Food Truck down in Miami.
Okay.
And I called them and said, I need a food truck. I sent them a deposit right there at the rest stop, and it just went so quick.
Wow.
Within like 4 months from that day, I had my truck.
Wow.
Yes.
Was it built for you new, or was it a used one that they built out? Or?
It's a used one that they rebuilt, so it's
That's
a
cool.
99,
Okay,
and we
yeah.
had some issues with that.
Yeah.
So anyone watching, don't buy a used food truck. Get a brand new one. It'll save you a lot of heartache.
Yeah. But they can be so expensive.
They can. But working with United Food Truck, they were so great. I got to customize everything inside of it.
That's cool.
You know, we put a tandoori oven in the food
wow.
truck. The air conditioning, just everything.
Yeah.
Working with the wrap company.
Yeah.
So I got to design every aspect of it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like I said, our very, very first event last season, we were headed up 81 North, and I blew a tire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
And that's probably not a quick get the jack out and slap it on, or is it?
we ended up calling one of the service companies here in Syracuse, and the guy came down, put a new tire on it. We made it to the event. We were like 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
But we were up and running with a half hour. So they were great. It was
Yeah.
at United Radio
Okay, yeah.
for doing lunch service. And right after that event, we drove to the service station, got all new tires on the truck, so we didn't have to worry about it again. But yeah, it's been challenging.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. It's it's really, I mean, so we have a client who I was there on a Friday at like 1 PM. They opened for 4 for dinner, and her fryer wasn't working. It's one thing if that's down. You can find, if you're in a restaurant, you can kind of find a workaround if you really need to, or maybe alter the menu or something.
Right.
But if you're on a truck and your truck goes down, or you blow a tire on your way, that's a completely different story.
You definitely have to be able to adapt very quickly.
Yeah.
And, we were driving to one event, our first event in Ithaca. We were going to Hopshire.
Okay.
And the wheel bearing froze up on one of the rear tires, and we had thought it was the starter. So I'm under the truck changing the starter on the side of the road.
Jeez.
I'm a chef, by the way. I'm not a mechanic.
Yeah, right.
So that was fun. And we couldn't get it going again because there was a short with one of the wires to the starter. So when we went to hook up the battery again, the sparks were flying everywhere. I'm like, oh my goodness. So we ended up having it towed to Ron's in Cortland.
Okay.
And they found out eventually that it was the wheel bearing. So ever since we had that fixed, we were down for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
So we lost all those events, which is sad. So trying to, maintain that motivation.
Yeah.
That's this year.
Yeah, right.
Coming off of COVID.
Yeah.
And it's been challenging.
Yeah. I bet. Yeah. I can't imagine. Did you do a lot of like neighborhood stuff or anything like that last year?
We did a lot of neighborhoods last year.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of requests for neighborhoods this year.
Now, are you based out of Syracuse?
We have a commissary kitchen in Syracuse. The truck I usually keep down at my hometown in Willett.
Okay.
So going back and forth.
Yeah.
And, loading up, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
Always on the go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think, obviously nobody was really, I'm sure there weren't many that did well last year, but
COVID really helped food trucks.
Yeah.
It hurt restaurants, which is very sad. Because I know a lot of them had to shut down. But I think it actually helped the food trucks because being an outside venue,
Right.
as long as you were wearing masks and social distancing,
Yeah.
it actually kind of worked to our benefit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, we were with, we never did anything with the footage, but we spent like a day following like Paul at Glazed and Confused and Nick at Limp Lizard around when they were out doing like, catering events and stuff like that. And Paul was doing neighborhood food truck stuff. And, it's different for him. Their truck's set up differently. They don't have like a fryer in there or anything like that.
Right.
They are, it's really just like they do some decoration and stuff in there. But so he had 3 workers following behind the truck in their cars packed full of donuts. It was all pre-order. So they would like pull up and get in a neighborhood and get their list together of what houses. And then he would just drive the truck slowly around so that way people could take pictures and kids could run out and all that kind of stuff.
play the Ice Cream Man music.
Yeah, exactly. And then, somebody would pull up in their car and run up with their donuts. But they did great with that kind of stuff.
Say you have to be able to adapt in this business. I mean, it's not like it used to be.
Right.
So
yeah, it was pretty interesting to see that stuff. And, I don't really think that many ideas are new, like if I have some revolutionary idea for Eat Local, I'm sure someone else throughout history has had a similar idea for their business. Right. But I forget who the first one was to do neighborhoods last year. I don't know if it was Toss and Fire or who it was.
I was going to say, it was probably Nick.
I feel like it was. And then everybody started doing them shortly after, but they were great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you still see them, this year.
Yeah. Even still now, people don't want to go out and it's convenient.
Yeah, it's I'll go on the Street Food Finder app and look to see like who's where, and then I'll see like somebody's neighborhood listed. So
that is the best thing for my food truck is Street Food Finder.
Really? Mm-hmm. Is it just because people can pre-order, or is it just people finding out where you're going to be?
It ties in with social media. As you know, social media is big for food trucks, getting the word out. So that platform ties in great with Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
Just the ease of use for ordering, looking at the menu. I would say breweries, I still get some Street Food Finder orders. Neighborhood is just straight for Street Food Finder orders.
Okay.
Even when I'm parked in Willett,
Yeah.
I'll open up right there in the Four Corners on Willett, and I
really?
get Street Food Finder orders from
Really?
people.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah, because like you don't see a lot of you don't see any food trucks just popped up on a street around here in Syracuse.
Right.
Yeah, which I think is, I mean, there's a lot of ideas and things that I wish were different about our food truck scene here in Syracuse, and that's probably one of them. Is just to see a random truck show up on a street one day.
It's tough because you want to make sure that the planned business is there.
For sure.
Get the foot traffic.
Yeah.
The events that are going on at Great Northern Mall, highly advertised. They get a lot of traffic.
Yeah. Have you been to one of those yet?
I have not yet.
Yeah.
So I haven't joined the.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
Okay.
I actually joined the CNY Food Truck Association with Don.
Gotcha. Yeah. And that's no more, right?
That's no more.
Yeah.
So honestly, I mean, the corporate businesses, we didn't take on a lot this year.
Yeah.
I was booked this year last season.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And I still got more requests.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we go to Ithaca. I did a catered event in Oxford, New York.
Wow.
So we go Tompkins, Cortland, and Onondaga.
Wow.
With that big, huge truck.
That's great. I love the look of your truck. I mean,
you.
It is a professional truck, obviously, but it has that look.
Yeah.
And there's like, I'd say half the trucks around here. You see some that are converted RVs or some that are converted U-Haul trucks. And, it's great to see people getting creative with how to do it. But having said that, I want to, as a consumer, I want to see a legitimate food truck.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel the same way. I mean, you want to look at the truck and like, oh, I don't know if I want to eat there.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. Roach coach.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
So if it looks good, the food's, more than likely going to be good as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's something as a professional chef that I strive for with my menu.
Yeah. So. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys have the ordering, tags and all that kind of stuff. It's all done very, very well.
Yep.
That's like I lived in Austin for a little bit and or near Austin for a little bit, and
Big
obviously,
food truck scene.
And they had food truck parks set up and stuff, so like you would know there's going to be trucks there and which ones are going to be there. But I feel like in our area, especially through the association, they rely way too much on, well, how many people are going to be there? Like, are we going to, like, it has to be advertised, it has to be booked, all this way in advance. And granted, if you can have a business and not have to worry about that risk, that's awesome.
Sure.
But I feel like the food truck scene is just naturally, you get that risk you get that risk in any restaurant.
You do.
But for a food truck, there is something about just showing up and not knowing who's going to be there. Kind of relying on the brand that you can kind of build, where if people hear that you're going to be here an hour before, they're just going to show up. They're going to find that they're going to make their way to go and get your food.
Right.
And they had a good thing going down at Clinton Square for a little bit in 2018. I feel 2018 with the food, the daily food truck things. And even though that was promoted and advertised and all that, and then obviously 2019 they started to get a bunch of pushback from the city and those restaurants because of it. And they did open up some spots for like you could get a permit, but with the parking,
certain areas, right?
I would just love to be walking downtown and see a random truck set up. I don't know
If they can get one of those spots.
Yeah, if they can get it. So I love the fact that you're doing that a little bit down where you're at.
I mean, I've had some neighborhoods where I didn't get a whole lot of pre-orders. And it's hard for my truck because I am so far away. So for me to drive all the way up to a neighborhood in Syracuse,
Right.
I kind of need to have that guarantee.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So I have had to cancel a few neighborhoods, and I feel terrible about that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to turn away that business.
Right. But if you're driving, all that way and you've got 10 orders or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was somebody posting last year saying like, we'll come to your neighborhood, but it has to be this many guaranteed and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So what's been the most fun thing about having the food truck for the past 2 years?
Working for myself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Feels that good?
It does. I recommend
Come on, talk me into it, because
You should. I mean, you don't answer anybody. It's, your business. It's your drive. If you have the drive to do it, you wake up every day, eat, sleep, breathe it.
Yeah. What's the scariest part about it?
Working for yourself. And not having those guarantees. It's just my wife and I on the truck, so we work it every single day.
How long have you two been married?
We just got married last year.
Oh, really? Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. We actually took a break halfway through the season.
Okay.
Our 1 year anniversary is coming up on the 15th.
Wow.
So happy
Of
anniversary,
July?
honey. Yep.
That's my wife's birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, July 15th. Yeah.
So we flew down to Jamaica and got married, just the two of us.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah. What was that like, traveling and getting married during COVID?
It was pretty easy, actually.
Really?
Wearing the mask on the plane, going through the testing, walking through the airports, we were waiting in line, going through the screening in Jamaica.
Yeah.
It was just something you had to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't an inconvenience, just time.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
But better safe than sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you were talking through starting did you guys take, a month and or 2 months or however long, or was it just kind of birthed a little bit out of just like frustration and working for somebody else? Or walk me through it, because my wife and I have these conversations.
Yeah.
And I am a overthinker,
Okay.
to every extent. And so in my head, and the downside of being an overthinker for me is I'm also an idiot. And so I don't have the knowledge to overthink something. So I'm overthinking the wrong things.
me.
I always tell people I was homeschooled and raised in Kentucky, so I have an excuse of why I'm so dumb. But
Stop.
but having said that, so in my head, I'm thinking two things: how great it could be, and like the best case scenario, and then the worst case scenario.
And you have to.
Yeah.
And I think about that every single day with my business as well. But, to your question, frustration, whatever.
Yeah.
my wife was working at Cornell University, and she was frustrated working her job.
Okay.
And I'm like, she's had her cosmetology license for years.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, let's just open up a salon right here in town. And we just did it. You know, I talked her into it.
Yeah.
You know, it's close to home. You can set your own hours, and she's been wildly successful. She does a great job.
Yeah.
And so she had that support for me building her business. So when it came time to, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
She was there for me to help push me in that direction.
That's cool.
And I just took it and ran with it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
If you're going to do it, you can't hesitate.
Yeah.
You know, I think, Eat Local New York is it's a great brand. It's a great service, for me to be here. So thank you for that. Get the word out about Naan Ya Business.
Yeah, right.
And my backstory, because a lot of people have questions about it.
Yeah.
I've had people say, which Indian restaurant is this? I'm like, it's just me. I'm the chef.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought about any of those things. And then, and a little bit of the woke world that we live in, I hear people talking about like Mexican restaurants that aren't like, that are owned by like white guys. And,
sure.
And like people, you always like question the authenticity in it and things like that of the recipes and the food. And granted, I'm not an expert on Indian cuisine by any stretch of the imagination, but I am an avid consumer. And again, granted, my wife had the grilled cheese, but, we both loved everything. It was all delicious. It was great. Everything we had at Willow Rock that day was awesome.
I try to tell everybody that comes up and like, I've never had Indian before. I mean, even my customers that come in from Willett,
Yeah.
Great country folk down there, never had Indian food, but I have so many loyal customers that come back every single time I'm open down there.
Yeah.
So what I tell them is, if you've never had Indian food, my food is a great start for it.
Yeah.
It's as authentic as I make it.
Yeah.
I've had some complaints. I went to a neighborhood last year, and they were all of Indian descent.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I don't think this is going to be good, honey. So I did have one lady complain on Facebook. I'm like, look, I'm really, really sorry, but
Yeah.
this is my food that I prepare for everybody.
Right. Yeah.
It's not just for certain groups of people.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah. One of my favorite stories of a restaurant that, like Kasai Ramen, for example, he's doing Japanese food.
Yeah.
And Kyle's a white guy from Philly. And one of his stories, which I have just loved over the years, has been when they opened up one night, they had a couple from Beijing sitting there and having dinner. And then right across from them was a white couple sitting there having dinner. And both had separately asked to speak to the chef, to the owner. So Kyle came out, and basically the white guy said, "This is the worst, most unauthentic ramen I've ever had in my life." And the guy from Beijing said, "This is the best, most authentic ramen I've ever had outside of Japan." So,
see?
So everybody has their different views, but yeah, like I said, we thought it was great. And I love that it's, it is different. Like you said, you don't want to do barbecue, you don't want to do burgers or tacos or whatever, because, one of the reasons, Bold Coast just does a great job, but one of the reasons I think they are so successful, aside from the fact that it's lobster,
right,
is that nobody else is doing lobster in the area. Nope. Nobody else is doing Indian food in the area in a food truck.
Exactly.
Right.
But if you go to an Indian restaurant, you're not going to find non-wrap sandwiches.
Right.
You know, you're not going to find a chicken sandwich with vindaloo and fried pickles on naan bread.
Right. Yeah.
So I try to put that little twist on there.
Yeah.
Fried pickle pakoras are phenomenal. My wife loves fried pickles, so she said, you have to have them on the menu. I'm like, how am I going to incorporate that into my menu? So I thought about it. I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So has your menu changed at all from like last year to this year?
Yes, there's a couple items. So we had an aloo tikki sandwich.
Okay.
Which now is an appetizer.
Okay.
We added on pizza and grilled cheese, loaded fries, nachos.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I sell
we saw
so many nachos.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as that plate comes out the window, people are like, oh, and it's just great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Next time you're at Willow Rock, we're definitely going to have to get those because we were eyeing those last time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's it like? I was talking to somebody recently about like the food and beer scene in Syracuse.
Okay.
And, like in some other markets, it feels like they're more connected than they are in Syracuse. What's it like setting up at a brewery versus anywhere else?
If they have a band, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
We were at Onco a couple weeks ago, and the Jess Novak band was there.
Oh, okay.
Huge crowd. It had rained all week. It was on a Friday. There was beautiful weather. The energy was just great.
Yeah.
I got absolutely killed.
Yeah.
20 deep for 2.5 hours.
Is it just you and your wife in there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild.
So,
yeah. All right. So good if there's a band.
yeah. Well, even if there's not, just the customers are fantastic.
Yeah.
We have so many customers that come up to, it doesn't matter where we're at. We meet them at breweries, but they'll follow us everywhere now.
That's cool.
So it's great to see everyone come back time after time after time.
Yeah.
Follow on social media.
Yeah.
But even like setting up at Willow Rock, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just the location, so many new customers that come through. I think that's the best thing is the new customers.
Yeah.
They have their regulars, but then people are like, well, let's go try this place tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a food truck. Let's try them.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of that.
That's cool.
And it's fantastic. And they come back.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it like in the wintertime? You had your first year last year and then you take this big long break.
It was a big, long break.
Yeah.
Just trying to rethink the season. I'm an overthinker as well.
Yeah.
So, what we did right, what we did wrong, what we could do better, because we're always constantly trying to improve.
Yeah.
So, like, first season, we're shouting people's names. Hey, your order's ready. Mm-hmm. This year, we have a pager system.
Yeah.
It'll beep when your order's ready.
Are those expensive?
No.
No. Okay.
For a set of 16 on Amazon, it was like $150.
Oh, wow.
Best $150 I spent.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. I love getting those at a food truck. It makes all the difference in the world to me.
You can go walk and go
Right.
back to the bar. It'll beep.
Yeah.
You don't have to is my food ready now?
Right.
So the only problem is I only have 16 of them.
Okay.
So that night at Willow Rock, I
Yeah.
completely ran out of pagers.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, honey, you have to help me catch up on orders. I'm getting
Yeah.
killed over here. Totally unprepared for that huge crowd,
Yeah.
but they were fantastic.
That's cool. Yeah. So was it, when you and your wife were talking about opening up, kind of going on your own, opening up the restaurant or a food business, was it first and foremost food truck, or was there ever thought of, should we do a brick and mortar?
We had discussed brick and mortar, and there was a couple opportunities in the local area, but where we live, it's very rural.
Yeah.
So people would have to drive quite a ways to get to where we need to set up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think it's going to work. Mm-hmm. There's already a pizza place. There's ice cream place. There's just not a lot for people to eat at.
Yeah.
And I think at that time, the Bennett Hotel in Cincinnatus had been rebought and turned into apartments.
Okay.
Because at one point it was a restaurant and a bar, and we were considering that. But she really liked the option of having the food truck and going out to different places. I think I watched that movie Chef too many times.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I watched that movie and I think I can open a food truck. I'm like, I could do that.
you can do it. Eat local food truck.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. I see how hard you guys work. Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm sure it is. It's just a lot of hard work, man. You guys put in so much effort into that thing,
Some trucks have it a little bit easier than others. My truck is probably more challenged, just due to the fact the scope of my menu
Yeah.
and the amount of prep needed. Because I would say about 95% of my menu is made from scratch.
Wow. Yeah.
So we're making samosas and aloo tikis and marinating the chicken and the beef and everything, cutting all the vegetables, the sauces, korma, vindaloo, tikka.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. I need to retract what I just said. I'm sure I couldn't make it. And here's why. There's so many people, like the path of failed restaurants is made up of people who do one or two things really well and think, oh, I could rock a restaurant. I have friends who most phenomenal cook, best food I've ever had, and just about anything and everything. He used to be a stay-at-home dad, and I mean, this guy could make the best Chinese food on a Monday night that I've ever had, and on Wednesday the best barbecue, and on Friday the best Mexican. He just did a phenomenal job. But every time that they would have an idea of some sort of a restaurant, it would be the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. And there's so much that goes, as you obviously know. It's one of the reasons why we got started. A friend of a friend asked me to help out a local restaurant at the time and give them some advice on marketing. And when I met with this person, she had a great job at a bank. She's like a branch manager or something, like a decent job. And she made the best whatever. And her friends and her family said, you make the best whatever. You should open a restaurant one day. You would kill it. And she had the dream and she went after it, but she had no idea how to cost out her food, where to buy, which location to go into, how to market the place, what the design should look like, what type of cuisine she needed to do or anything like that. And very shortly after she opened, she was already failing. And she was open just under a year, and then she closed. And this was like 6 years ago. She's still around doing her thing, just in a different fashion. But, when I met with her, I was just like, I feel so incredibly bad for you. She had, just spent her last like $500 in a terrible way and for marketing. And she was like, but nobody's come in from it, So I feel like there's a lot of people who maybe they can cook or they can cook one or two dishes, but you have to have so much more about you to run a successful food business.
You do, whether it's through being a professional chef or having that education. I would say to anybody who's in that situation that has a great idea to want to start a restaurant is to find a friend that's a professional chef and has run restaurants and run those ideas by them. Because it's not easy.
No.
It's 24/7, 365.
Yeah, it's taking all the normal things that a restaurant owner has to deal with, and in your case, adding on, vehicle maintenance to that mix.
And everything.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. I'm kind of like, I know you were part of the association and that's no more, but I kind of like the fact that you're out on your own a little bit with it. I know the associations can do a lot of good work for food trucks, but it is interesting to, run into, because not too many that I know of, at least in the area, are doing it on their own. So it's kind of cool to see that you're doing that. You guys are doing good. Yeah.
When we live so far away, when we talked it over about the benefits of joining, the Food Truck Association, and the commitment that it would take to join them, driving to Great Northern Mall from where we live, it's almost an hour and a half, to almost 2 hours, and then you have to set up and work, and then tear down, drive back, clean up.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So, what's something people should know about you that we haven't talked about?
Oh dear.
Or maybe about the business, or.
We covered a lot of stuff. I mean, just the passion for food, helping other food trucks and other chefs.
Yeah.
I've been a chef for almost 30 years, and I've purposely worked in a lot of different places because I wanted to get that knowledge.
Yeah, that's great.
And learn a lot about it. So Italian, I would say one of the biggest things most recently about Naan Ya Business is the catering aspect of Naan Ya Business.
Yeah.
So we just did a birthday party yesterday in Cortland for my neighbor's brother-in-law. It was his 69th birthday party.
Oh, wow.
And they asked me, can you cater this? We love your rice bowls, but what else can you do?
Yeah.
So I ended up doing hamburgers and hot dogs and fruit salad and pasta salad. So I would like to expand my catering business more.
Yeah.
And, being a professional chef is not just Indian food.
Yeah.
It's I can barbecue, Italian.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
I can incorporate all that into the truck.
Yeah. And you have a great truck, I mean, you see a lot of the trucks that do weddings and stuff, and they're always like the attractive looking trucks.
Yeah.
And so you have that,
Yes.
with your truck. So that's a big benefit for anybody who's looking to bring you, if you're getting married and you're gonna have a food truck, you probably choose yours over some of the other ones that are in town.
Yeah,
so,
I would say that.
So that's a big benefit. So good job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for coming out all the way out here to be on the podcast. And, thank you for joining the Eat Local card. We love it when we have new restaurants come on. So we're getting ready for the next card that'll be coming out here in October, and we're building an app and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be getting in touch with you about all that. But yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Kevin, thank you so much.
All right.